seven brothers, because they all had her. They want to have her on the other side. So they want to know which guy is going to have her on the other side, because they all had her here. This is what the Bible says. They all had her here, so they want to have her on the other side. Which guy is going to have him? Who will be entitled to have her on the other side? In answer to that, Jesus says, neither shall they die anymore. Once they are resurrected, they will be immortalized. This is a mortal body which has got its mortal needs: food, shelter, clothing, sex, rest. Without these things, no Indians left, no Afrikaners left, no Malays left, nothing. That body will be an immortal body. No food, no shelter, no clothing, no sex, no rest. He said, neither shall they die anymore, for they are equal unto the angels, meaning they will be angelized, they will be spiritualized, they will be spiritual creatures, they will be spirits. For they are equal unto the angels and the children of God. Such are the children of the resurrection, spirits. He says, want hier sit nie vlees en bene soos julle sien dat ek het nie. A spirit has no flesh and bones. I am not resurrected. Can't you see? Simple, basic knowledge. Why does he have to convince anybody that a spirit has no flesh and bones? You don't have to prove it to an atheist, to an agnostic, to a Hindu, to a Jew, anybody, everybody. We believe that the spirits have no flesh and bones. Because they are thinking he is a spirit. He's come back from the dead. So he's telling, I'm not that. Can't you see, you fools? What's wrong with you? And they believe not for joy. They are overjoyed and wondered what happened. So he says, have you here any meat, something to eat? And they gave him a piece of broiled fish and a honeycomb, and hy het dit geneem en voor hulle oë geëet. And he took it and he ate in the very sight, as if to prove what? There is a ghost, there is a spirit, that is resurrected. Resurrected bodies eat broiled fish and honeycomb, do they? He's proving to you, I'm the same fellow man. What's wrong with you fools? Look, Mary Magdalene says he was alive. You know, the other disciples, when they said, look, he's alive, they said, and they believe not. Now these 10, they tell Thomas. Thomas wasn't there. They said, look, the master was here, and he ate with us, broiled fish and honeycomb. He says, I will not believe. What will he not believe? Imagine, this doubting Thomas. He's become famous for doubting. Thomas was his name. He said, I will not believe. Why won't he believe? Because they're telling him he's the living Jesus. He's alive, not his ghost. If he said, look, we saw the ghost of Jesus. They see them every day. In those days, they're seeing them every day. No, they're not talking about ghost, about spook, about spirits. They're talking about him, himself, the man eating broiled fish and honeycomb. He said, I will not believe. 8 days later, Jesus comes again. Now he sees this guy. Thomas is saying, Thomas, come. Reach hither thy finger, and behold my hands, and put your hand into my side, and don't be faithless. Now he realizes what a fool he was. So he says, my God, my Lord. So now the Christians say he recognized that Jesus is his God and his Lord. Imagine. You know, you exclaim, you go and report me to the special branch that Deedat was preaching communism here. To you all, communism. So they come along, harass me, they give me trouble, and they tell me eventually, he says, look, it's your friend, man. Who? Mr. Muhammad. He said, he is the guy who was, prodding us. So when I meet him, his broad smiling face, my benefactor, my friend, I say, Sali, my God, what a thing to do. Sali, my God. He's my God? I say, Sali, Allah, what a thing you have done. Sali, Allah, you Allah. What's wrong with you people? This is an exclamation. What a fool that I was, man. The 10 disciples telling that he is alive, and I said, I will not believe. What reason did they have to lie? All the 10, he disbelieved them all. Why? Because they were telling that he was alive. Now, this crucifixion, it has become a joke by God. It has become a joke. The way they have been trying to tell us about what a thing it was, it is not so serious as people have been preaching all along. In the Philippines, in the footsteps of Jesus, you'll find in this book of mine, page 85. Don't open it now. Don't open it now. Page 85, you'll find an article from Dar es Salaam of the Sunday News. You'll find there Jesus' footsteps. And you find in there that this crucifixion, that 7 persons, let me read it to you. Let me read it to you. It says here, on Good Friday, at least 7 cases of crucifixion were reported in the local press. But the word crucifixion is in inverted commas. 6 times in this article, the word crucifixion occur, and every time in inverted commas. You know what that means? It means they were not crucifixions. It means the so-called. You see, when it is in inverted commas, this is whenever people talk about crucifixion, that it was not really crucifixion. In inverted commas. Instead of writing every time the so-called crucifixion, the newspaper loses its value. So they don't want to tell you really, but they put it in inverted commas. This reporter, Reg Grattan, he had the brains. He knew what he was doing. 6 times, every time, the word crucifixion is in inverted commas, meaning it was not really the crucifixion. Listen. On Good Friday, at least 7 cases of crucifixion were reported in the local press. One of these was Luciana Reyes, a 23-year-old factory worker and the first woman known to have performed the ritual. First woman got crucified. But she wasn't crucified because she was alive. She lived. She's still living. See? So what do you call that? These Christians, this attorney from Benoni, a born-again Christian, and this guy Josh McDowell, they wrote a book. And in that, they're asking me the question. They haven't got a word in their language for a person going on the cross and going through the ordeal and not dying. Would you say he was crucified when 20 years later somebody shot him, or 20 years later he was hanged, or 5 years later a motor car knocked him down? What was his end? Crucified? No. What happened on the cross? There is no word in the English language. For that, they're making a mockery of me. I said, I'll supply you the word. These educated fools, I tell you, fools. They haven't got a word in their own language to tell us what happened. A man is taken to the gallows. The noose is put around his neck. The rope is pulled. But before the man expires, they cut the rope. Was the man hanged? What? One word. Give me one word in your language. There isn't. You haven't got a word in your language to describe that. Is that my fault? I said, what it is not crucifixion in inverted commas, it is crucifixion. These are fictions taking place. These are fairy tales, zan. So, a woman is doing that. She did it. First woman to do that. The crucifixion, some shown live on television, they show them alive on television, have now become the climax of Easter week in the Philippines. In some cases, they attract thousands of visitors to provincial towns where the atmosphere is a blend of carnival and deep mourning. Suggestion for our Christian brethren here. What about enacting something here in Ceres or somewhere around here in Bontival? Look, you'll get thousands of people coming along to see the fun. They're doing it in the Philippines. They're getting themselves hung on the cross. Nailed. And they're not dying. It's because they're doing it for kicks. Kicks for enjoyment, for pleasure. One man fainted. After being removed from the cross, he had to be carried to a waiting bus. Another was up and smoking a cigarette as soon as his hands were bandaged. These are the crucified people. Would you call them crucified or crucifixed? They're not crucified, crucifixed. And what's taking place is crucifixion. F-I-C-T-I-O-N, fiction, not F-I-X-I-O-N. It's not crucifixion, it is crucifixion, F-I-C-T-I-O-N. It's a fiction's taking place. And they're doing the real thing, not like what they do in films. They just try and show you as if the man is getting, like these films you see, Jesus of Nazareth, the Day of Triumph, King of Kings. They show the man, going through the ordeal. That's all acting, play acting. This is no play acting. They will go through the real thing. But this is crucifixions. There are fictions. There are not crucifixions. One of them, Mario Bactus, a 33-year-old vendor, had gone through the ritual for the 5th time. He was crucified 5 times already. For the 5th time, every year he's going through the process. And like the Bacalao penitents, he promised to return next year. He said he had vowed to perform the crucifixions for 10 years after his wife recovered from cancer. 10 years, he's going to do it 10 times. Every year he gets crucified. He's getting crucified? Look, he is getting crucifixed. And these are crucifixions. Fictions. Fable, fiction. These are fictions taking place. You don't have to go all the way to the Philippines, too far. In Natal, you'll see it on page 36 and 56 of the book I gave you. Pictures of a man in Natal in Newcastle crucified man hung on the cross. And he did something more than the Filipinos do. He put a spike through his thigh also to show that the man has mind over matter. He's proving that, the mind, what it can bear. And he's a barman. Van der Berg and Afrikaner. He's done it. Getting crucified on the cross. And then he's brought down. And a few days later, he's back to work. Would you say he was crucified? What would you call that? The newspaper, the crucified man hung on cross. Was he crucified? Crucified means to kill. The man is alive. One word. I say he was being crucifixed. And these are crucifixions. This is not F-I-X-I-O-N. You must call them fictions. These are crucifixions. They're playing with the game. And now the Christians, they give you a choice. Ooh, they give you a choice. This born again, that spirit is coming into them. You'll find that this man here of the Campus Crusade, he publishes a book, The Resurrection Factor. In that book, on page 47, he shows us Jesus Christ on the cross. After 1,000 hours of actual study on the crucifixion, he comes along with this picture. You got the book? If you haven't, when you go out, you must get that book. It's absolutely free. You owe it to yourself. You must have it. His Lord and Savior, he put him up like a frog. Look, you'll see it there. Page 47, you'll see it. He's like a frog on the cross. Actually like a frog. So I'm asking now, is this froggy fiction as illustrated here? Like a frog. I didn't do it. This is the Campus Crusade publication, page 47. Like a frog. You'll see it there on page 47. If you have the book, open it and see. Page 47. You must take it when you go out. Like a frog. Page 47. Huh? Oh, 87, I'm sorry. This is 47 of his book. His book. In his book, page 47. I'm sorry, yes. Right. Froggy fiction as in page 87. Then you see the Jehovah's Witnesses, they getting the cross stuck in the throat. The Jehovah's Witnesses. So they say, no, the Lord was stakified. He was put on a stake, a totem pole. You find that on page 74. He's put on a stake like that. Not like this, like that. See that, page 74. So now that is stakey fiction. Look, they're giving you a choice. You can take your choice now. What? Froggy fiction or stakey fiction or crucifixion on page 33. It will show you that he was not nailed. Page 33, you'll see. What a choice.